Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching for our 10th episode of the Strackhouse. For today's episode, I wanted to do something a little bit different. We're actually going to play the very first episode I ever recorded. My wonderful mother came in and helped me do some test runs, and it actually ended up being a very cool interview, so I hope you enjoy. And don't forget, this is our last episode of the season, but join us next year after January 1st for our first episode of season 2. Everyone has a story.
Pretty crazy evening. Hustle and see the fire that has fallen.
We all take a different path and face different hurdles. I'm your host, Sarah Strackhouse, and in this show, I get to interview inspiring women who are dedicated to making change.
The world is tough, so be tough.
Welcome to the Strackhouse. Hello, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest today, Janet Strackhouse. She is, of course, my mother, but beyond that, she is an incredible person. Not only has she been a mother, a wife, an incredible worker, she has kind of taken the technology industry by storm. Mom, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, so first I want to get a little bit into what you do. Can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, I've been in as far as a profession and not as a mom, but I've been in technology my entire career. I started out of college in an inside sales type capacity, selling something called data communications into a small little territory called Manhattan, to some big, large, to some big, large accounts. So it was very, very early days. And for somehow, I've just been blessed and lucky to have been with a couple of startups that have gone really, really big and either have gone public or have been bought out. Some
Blessed, lucky, and hardworking.
And hardworking, yes, very hardworking, and trying to do it while raising a family. You know, the three kids, you and your sister and brother. Trying to do that from working from home in the early days when we just were inventing really cell phones and making it work out of our cars, and being on the soccer field and basketball courts and ballet studios and riding rinks. So somehow have just made it work in the very early days.
So, Mom, tell me a little bit about your support system, how you got to be so successful and really work through everything. I mean, how important is that support system growing up, home, friends? You know, tell us a little bit about that. Especially in a technology-driven world where it's mostly male-dominated.
Yeah. Well, again, some of it you're born into, some of it is luck, and then it's what you do with it, right? So I was born and raised in the Bronx, so that's not an easy place to be born and raised for the most part, by parents that were immigrants, loving people, black and white, hardworking people. So we grew up tough, just had to survive somehow. And then when the area changed, we moved to Long Island, and that was the summer that they decided to experiment with us and bus us into different school districts. And I was a minority, being Caucasian, if you want to say. So again, went into just another tough situation, and we just made it work. You just survive, you have fun, you make friends, and you just get over tough times. So I think a lot of that has helped me in then my career, because yes, you're right. I was probably the only female, or one of the only females, for the longest time, probably for 10 years of my career in the technology space.
Yes, it
And
wasn't
you're a
male dominated.
beautiful woman too. I mean, I'm sure you got hit on, people said comments. I mean, it's a different culture now. It's very hashtag me too, all of that kind of stuff. But, when it might not have been more, people might not have been more aware of it. Tell us a little bit about kind of your thought process and getting, having to navigate and still be a trailblazer and get respect in the area.
A lot of questions, a lot of questions. So, you know, I don't think I thought about it that much. You just did it. You just went forward. If somebody did make off-color comments possibly or start to hit on me, I guess, I just would take it at, I think early on, I just took it at face value. Like if they said, oh, I would really like that, or in some kind of derogatory way or flirting way or suggestive way, I would say, oh, you do? So then do we want to work on closing this purchase order or closing this initiative or starting a proof of concept? So I would take it sort of at face value, not insult the person that was maybe hitting on me, and just be a little quote unquote naive, but just move forward and keep my eye on the prize. My eye on the prize was closing business, growing the company, and making money. So,
and as your daughter, I know you have thick skin, so you didn't let stuff bother you.
No, I just didn't, and I guess that's how we raised you guys too. Is like get over it. Oh, you fell down, you broke a leg, you whatever, in your sports and everything you guys did and accomplished. We just, had you just bite nails for breakfast. I mean, this is not an easy world. And yeah. I think if you're going to be this sensitive, I think the world's gone a little mad right now. And so, yeah, you can't accept bad behavior, but you can address it in a different way sometimes and still make it in this world, and make it with grace, basically, in class. You don't have to be the victim all the time, which I think is a lot of what's happening these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, especially in today's climate. What advice do you have for people in the technology and software world? I'm sure there's a lot more women in it now, but what advice do you have for people who might be facing struggles or dealing with some of the hurdles that you've seen?
I think keep your head down. Again, keep your eye on the prize, and try to stay out of the political fray. Sometimes you need to be aware of what's going on and what's being said, but keep focused on getting your goals accomplished, the initiatives accomplished. Understand what the customer wants. Become a trusted advisor to your customer. Challenge them if you think they're wrong. Don't be afraid to say, no, I don't think you should go in this direction. You should go in the direction that my company wants you to go in, and say that. Don't be afraid to say that, and say, this is why I'm at this company, because I believe in it and I can help you be successful. And your goal is to help everyone, your customers, get promoted and be successful and feel comfortable to be with you, because not only today in what you're doing in this particular job, but this is going to follow you for the rest of your life. So many of the people I started with as kids, we were all kids, are now very senior level executives, and they've helped me get into doors and different opportunities that I would have not have had I not sold them or worked with them or consulted with them on successful initiatives early on in my career. So just stay out of the political fray. You do have to bring in your team. There's no I in team. So you have to make sure your management is aware of what you're doing. Get everyone in the boat. The technology folks, the engineering people, everyone is with you on these projects, because these projects involve tremendous amount of support. It's not just you're selling a cup. You're selling a very complicated solution. Get everyone in the boat. And the other thing is, if you win, everybody takes part in that success, and you compliment and you thank everybody, because it did take an entire village to close successful initiatives in business. And when you lose, that's a tough one to swallow. But if you have the whole team with you, you personally don't go down as quickly because you had the whole team with you in the boat as well. So learn from your learn from your successes, and unfortunately, you also learn a lot more from your losses. One of my favorite quotes: "A wise man learns from his own failures. A wiser man learns from other people's failures." So, learn from your superiors, smarter people than you, more seasoned people than you, and have fun. Try to have fun too along the way.
So you actually segued perfectly into my next question. I only have 2 more questions for you, and then I'll let you go. I know you have a busy day. But first off, tell us a little bit about a time that you had a failure or you hit a big bump and how you kind of got over it or came back from it.
Just one time?
I don't know, something that sticks out to you.
Yeah. I remember I was working on a huge deal. Here you go. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I was working in it was a large company, and I was working on a very big initiative. And it was sucking up all of my time and energy and resources and a lot of other people's. And we were getting ready to close the deal, and we were working on the purchase order, and we were working on all the last minute things. And the person, unfortunately, he was a good guy, passed away. Had a heart attack and died, and absolutely everything stopped. And it was devastating. We were all really sad. It was somebody from Merrill Lynch. He was such a good person, but everything came to a standstill, and the whole initiative died, and I completely blew my entire quota for the year and didn't make my numbers. Yeah. So what did that teach me? You better have a lot of irons in the fire and be able to multitask and work on a lot of different initiatives, because one thing like that can completely change the course of the world. And as we all know, I was in 9/11 happened, and so many of my deals went completely on hold at that point. But at that point, I had already learned from that other mistake and at least had some other things going. But there's one of the companies I was with actually we had to close the doors because one of the companies that went under in 9/11 went under, and they were putting us on the map. They were helping us design the product and giving us our first order, our first deal, if you want to say, in the company. And when they went under at 9/11, that was it. Doors had a shutter. So.
And actually, I lied. I said only 2 more questions, but bringing that up, you were supposed to be in the Twin Towers that morning. Can you tell us quickly a little bit about that story? I always get goosebumps when you tell me.
Yeah, that was divine intervention for me and all of us, your dad and all of us really, because I had a 9:00 appointment in the towers in 2 World Trade Center, and your dad and I were meeting with our pastor, and we were late. And I was late, which is not unusual in New York City to be late to things. But the meeting went over, and I missed my 9:00 start, and the towers went down at 9:15. So it was just a blessing, a blessing for us and our family. Terrible situation, but a blessing for all of us, our family anyway. Yeah.
Every time. Well, Mom, now I want to end this kind of on your biggest achievement, something you are most proud of.
You and Emily and Tommy and our family. I mean, just wow. To be to the women out there, I'm not sure we could do it all. I think it's a lie that we've all been taught, that you can raise a beautiful family and have this amazing career. I have a great career, yes, but I'm not the CFO or the CEO of some big corporation. I just don't see how you can go into an office every day and still raise the most wonderful kids in the whole world like I have. So I really think your dad and I both made sacrifices to be around for you kids, and we worked from home, and we took different career paths so that we could be home and work from home and on phones and on the soccer fields and stand behind in the court and watch the games and still take calls and do business. So I think the advice I can have for most women is, at the end of the day, Yeah, it's great to have a good career, and it's great to be financially stable. I mean, that helps a lot. That creates a lot of fun too if you have your priorities straight. But at the end of the day, it's all about family. And there's been mistakes made, but thank God I have my family. So I don't know what I would do at the end of the day without you guys. That's it. That's my advice.
I love that, Mom. That's incredible. And I know that us kids are so thankful for you guys. I mean, you paved the way for us and really opened the door for a ton of opportunities. So thank you. And absolutely excellent advice for women out there who are trying to, like you said, have it all, have that elusive all. So thank you. Anything else you want to leave people with?
That's it. The world is tough, so be tough and try to have fun along the way. And, take every day to recognize your blessings that you have. That's it.
Love it. All right, well, Mom, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you all for joining us in the Strackhouse. We'll see you next time. If you'd like to nominate an inspiring woman, email me at sarahstrackhouse@gmail.com. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time. Thank you all so much for joining us for Season 1 of the Strackhouse. That concludes our last episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Strackhouse. And join us after the new year for Season 2.